what another person is saying or doing is creating your pain and reactivity. So there's a big party line out there these days. Watch out for it. It's partly what has children ostracizing their own parents, is that you just need to have better boundaries and get those toxic people and situations out of your life. It's kind of it's a real fine line here, and you will know if you end up working with me, that we will work on the subtleties of this. Yes, we're not going to put you in the face of abuse. We're not going to make those littlest parts of you go into and stay in situations that scare you to death. In fact, I have one, I think it's a blog, maybe a video, that where I wrote about, I got a text, and it was like, I'm afraid to open that text because I was so afraid of what they were going to say. And I went back and forth with, okay, how do I close that? Sorry. I went back and forth with, uh-oh, they're mad at me, and I'm so mad at them for being mad at me and for seeing it the way they're seeing it. How dare they let me down? How dare they attack me that way? I haven't even opened the text yet. It just said, I thought a lot about what you said yesterday, and blah, blah, blah. So I had confronted this person in a super loving way and about something that was really important. And it ended up that she was so grateful for it and wanted to up her game in what we were doing. And yet I was just, terrified of that. But guess what? I didn't rush to open it like I used to do damage control. I didn't force myself to open it when I was terrified. I sat down and wrote the thoughts that were going on, and my mind instantly went to the laundry room when I was little with my mom. I don't know what happened there, but it's a place where I often go. And I saw that all the triggering, all the fear was about her. And I have a really, really effective way of working with people where we use a here and now situation to find a thread to a childhood wound. And even if we don't find those childhood situations, clearing up what gets triggered now. So we take care of the parts of you that are afraid to open that text. I did that right before going into a meeting. It took me 10 minutes to get those thoughts on paper, do that work, turn them around, and run the rest of my day without any thought about that text. And I came back later to open it with no fear. And then I found out, all is well. But I told somebody that story. She's like, yeah, I didn't open an email for 3 days thinking I was, going to be kicked out of whatever. And it turns out it was nothing. It was a sales email. So, we take care of the fear first. That feel the fear and do it anyway is no. Sometimes you have to, but mostly feel the fear, find out what it is, help it out. And then we'll see where it goes. I often say, not where do you want to go next? I say, where does it want to go next? The energy, the knowing that, and after people do this work, they always kind of know. Not only will the turnarounds show you your next steps, but your vision opens up because all the ways you were blocking it aren't there anymore. So that's the difference. When that happens, these toxic people and these things that scare you, you don't need to shut them out of your life. I always, almost 100%, if I do the work with somebody before a big family Thanksgiving or something, and we project into what they fear, they come back to the group afterwards and say, oh my God, best visit ever. The people didn't show up the way I thought they were going to, partly because of your work. You're different, so that makes them different, and you've moved a lot of energy. Or they did show up, but I didn't react the same way. Or they did show up and I reacted the same way, but I saw myself. So you saw Diane yesterday, even she was so great and courageous to get on and tell us about her son-in-law and her story. They only call me when they need something. However, instead of just being the diehard believer of it, she had texted me earlier that day and said that she saw herself in that story and kept her heart open to him. So, whoa. So that's the difference. Rather than shutting those people out, you use them as your path to peace, as long as it's not too much, and will help you with that. So misconception, failed promise number 2, since our emotions are generated by our thinking, it means you are choosing to feel upset. There's just so much out there that says, oh yeah, people are hard on themselves. They're like, oh yeah, I chose to handle it that way. I chose to get resentful. I'm like, I don't think so. I think this stuff is just showing up right out of your programming, and you are innocent, but that doesn't mean you can't change it either. When we go in later and look at that triggering moment and get those wires going down, rewire, especially the brain goes, oh, people will say, yeah, my husband said that and I reacted differently. Like the brain goes, wait, she did something different. Where do we hook that up? The little neurons going, it's in touch with reality instead of, those deep pathways are grooved. And what Allison was talking about, yeah, the thoughts will come back. It's like a river and you're creating a new stream that goes off that way. Well, sometimes if there's a flood, some of the stuff will overflow and go back down the old riverbed because that's what it's used to. So anyway, a lot of people will say your thoughts are like a buffet. Just choose more positive and upbeat ones. But if you could, you already would have. Sometimes you can catch yourself and that's fine, but that's usually where you've already worked through it, and a simple affirmation will help. But I'm not a fan of affirming over actual wounded parts of you. We need to bring them up and hold them and let them talk. And that's why we put it on this Judge Your Neighbor worksheet that you would learn on Friday and show it the errors in its own logic. And just putting it down puts us in the role of the observer and the one who's holding ourselves. So the biggest thing I want you to know about that thinking is it's not your fault. We simply were not taught how to turn whatever upsets us into an instant path to peace. I'm like, that's why I'm so passionate. That's why I work around the clock. Why isn't anybody teaching this stuff? Children get hold of this really easily. It's common sense to them and it gets trained out of them to not go into believing your stories. We spend our childhood taking on stories and then our adulthood trying to get rid of them with all these strategies. But we don't just have to affirm over them. We can literally watch them fall away because we can't believe them anymore. So again, it's not your fault. You were innocent because you didn't know another way. If you had, you would have used it. Third, it's not your fault. Many learned to please, placate, and set up painful patterns of blame, shame, and criticism and self-sabotage. I know my family, as good as it looked on the outside, most people were jealous of my really lovely parents. There was a lot of stuff that went on in there, and a lot of their, like, blame and shame were a thing, just a thing. I don't know if it was just the 50s or what, the 60s, but there wasn't, people didn't have another way. And even now, as enlightened as we are, maybe the blame and shame is more subtle. But anyway, so it's not your fault. And misconception number 3, if you just practice mindfulness, becoming the observer of your thoughts and feelings, your difficult situations will turn around. Mindfulness, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So many people are so happy and relieved and excited to learn meditation, to learn yoga, all of that. And it doesn't necessarily turn around your difficult situations. If you've got a survival level belief that believes it's saving you, that just watching it over and over, it's almost sometimes cruel for me. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do silent meditation, but this work is meditation. I move instantly into becoming the observer. And yet we go farther. I have a little book called Beyond Mindfulness, where you feel the stuff in your body and you observe the thoughts. It's kind of like the meditations we did on the first 2 days. And so it's when I try to just watch the thoughts and have them go by like a cloud, or I'm going to go up the escalator and leave them behind or whatever, they're freaking out. They're my little kid parts. They're like, no, I need your attention. Something is wrong here. So that's where we need to go. Hey, no, I see you. I hear you. I've got you in a snuggly. We harness this bigger part of ourselves that is healed, that is the healed master, that has the all that is here supporting us, that has these strategies to see through the errors in the logic of those littlest parts that are trying to save us with all the doom and gloom thinking. So I'm going back to that, make sure I covered it. Yeah. So really getting in and going beyond mindfulness, getting the thoughts on paper, questioning them, finding they were never true to start with, turning them around, finding that you're doing to yourself and others what you thought was being done to you, and the story that you needed X to change actually isn't true. Finding your own innocence when you're beating yourself up. You need more than just mindfulness. Misconception, failed promise number 4 is you should not think, say, or in any way put the focus on negative or scary thoughts, because then you will manifest that. Oh my goodness, you will not believe the number of people I have worked with who were kind of like casualties of the law of attraction. They were trauma in so much fear, believing that they were creating their own reality by having a negative thought. And there was no chance for that negative thought to get some help in the part of us that was holding the negative thought. And those theories are right on some level, and on another level, they've really been taken out of context and twisted, and people are scared to actually say it out loud. I had someone who was a unity minister, trainer kind of person. I was giving a talk called the pain to peace process, because that's what this is. We take our pain and we make it into peace. She said, oh, you can't use the word pain, bad energy. Don't put that in writing. Like, what? And acknowledge that we're in pain. How can we help ourselves? So that stuff is not doing us any favors, those things. And where we just have to, you've got your vision, just keep your focus on that vision. And if a resistance or fear comes up and you just zip it, just don't pay any attention to it, just keep your eye on your vision, that red convertible, whatever it is. But hey, life might be bringing you something so much better than your mind can create, so you may be really limiting yourself. These visions are very malleable, and you will know where you need to go as soon as you start getting out of your own way. Misconception, failed promise number 5, you just need to stop judging and having expectations. So some people have realized, oh yeah, I just have expectations of my spouse that he or she can't meet, and so the problem's on my end. But guess what? Our brains are a judging machine. It's a binary process, so it's on, off, fat, thin, smart, dumb, good, bad. It makes judgments, and we talked about that the first day. If you want to watch that recording, the only way to heal them is to bring the judgments up, let them have their life. In some cases, they are helping and saving you, and you want to act on them. But in the most time, this kind of recycled, where the thinking is guiding us. So judging ourselves, judging others, wishing things were different. We're really in others or God's business. And even how each of us shows up is God's business. This is not just our responsibility to come to the rescue of the part of us that started believing the thoughts. I always say it's our most sacred privilege. I think that the spiritual journey is about self-love. And people will like to say, oh yeah, well, I can't love others well until I love myself, but they don't even know what that means. In some ways, when we do this work, we nail what there's a problem with them. And sometimes we're often able to see their innocence first. And sometimes it starts with that. Sometimes you can love others a lot better than you can love yourself. So even that party line doesn't always work. But lots of times there may be ulterior motives in the way you love them too, because you're trying to get what you need for yourself. So anyway, the judging, we can use the judging. The mind is going to do it, but it gets a lot quieter in there. Oh my goodness, I can't believe my level of focus and the things that I didn't used to be able to do that were ramping up all the emotional charge in my body. So did we do 5 and 6 is unconditional love is only attainable for spiritual masters like Jesus or Buddha. And I find that when we work through the thoughts in a situation, I will see people move right into a complete open heart for the person they were so pissed off at when they came in, or a situation they were so afraid of, or being so hard on themselves. Yes, we move back into conditionality. And yet when we do this work, it moves us into unconditionality. It's funny, that was going to be the name of my next book, might still be, which is about the symmetry. The 3 books that are getting out there now, 2 small and 1 large, are about the self-forgiveness part and the end of self-abandonment. But the next one, so unconditionality, I'm like, oh, I made up a word, but guess what? No, it's in the dictionary. Unconditionality is a thing, and you can get there one situation at a time. And the more you work them, the more unconditional you are with life in general. So we can get there. I believe that is what Jesus and Buddha were saying. So hang in there. You move a lot closer to it anyway. Once you see the conditions, all it is, it's so easy to question the conditions. If you come Monday night for our bonus content where I teach the whack a worry thing, you will see how quickly the mind sees that that thought wasn't helping you. It sees that condition and it can go, no, I don't really need that. I'm not in charge here. And no, that's not helping me. So you just need a structure for that the brain loves to do this. So number 7 is being hard on yourself is a way to improve. That with a lot of people literally believe this in our society and putting down our bodies. There's even a thing in that Mean Girls movie where they're all putting themselves down. Oh, my thighs are too fat, my this, my that. And the girl is really emotionally healthy. She grew up in a jungle in Africa and she's like, oh, like, I think I'm good, and they're like, so anyway, we honestly also believe that beating ourselves up is what will move us into action. And that was Michelle that I talked about earlier, that if you weren't, if you aren't beating yourself up, then you're going to, if you aren't beating yourself up, you won't get anything done. And that was her first work at a retreat. She had left her job. She was going to start her own business. She's like, well, I have to clean my office first. But she wasn't cleaning her office. She was laying on the couch. And I'm like, let yourself lay on the couch. And she's like, no. But she was up in 2 days and somebody called and she cleaned just enough of her office to get it done. So anyway, so a hopeless obsession with getting it right or fearing outcomes. This is what we're gonna work on tomorrow, is getting off that hamster wheel. Misconception or failed promise number 8 is if you are chronically indecisive, it's because you fear making the wrong choice. That's a fallacy. I really think maybe it is for some people, but a lot of it is, it's based on a fallacy that your mind would know the best and worst outcome in any situation, and that there even is such a thing as a wrong choice. We can't know where anything's going or what anything means or what's being accomplished on a grand scale. So even the mind's willingness to judge right or wrong, that's one thing. But the other thing is that what we fear, and I've talked about this, we'll talk about it tomorrow, healing regret, as we will do with the Wheel of Self-Forgiveness, frees up decision, because it was our own fear of our regret hell that's the worst place to be. I'm like, no, the biggest thing I fear in a decision that kept me so stuck was not that I would make the wrong decision, but that I would beat myself up no matter which way I went. I would still see, kind of what I had lost if I chose that one, and I would find a way to beat myself up either way. So misconception, the final one, number 9, is that you need to keep seeking and trying different things, and it will require years of somatic release, counseling, meditation, etc. And because the same patterns have repeated in your life, you're likely to keep attracting the same kind of people. So, just question all of that. I've seen a lot of things change fast, what they did with me. Not that all of that doesn't help with a level of readiness, but there really is a missing piece. And part of it is the safety that we have here. Part of it is the methods that they just work. They work with brain, spiritually sound, psychologically sound, theoretically sound on every level. I hope this is one thing you get, that you get to thrive this time, no matter what happens, and feel safe, seen, and supported, no matter what happened in the past, no matter who is angry or leaves, no matter what happened, no matter what the future brings. And just kind of the opposite of that one of, I have to keep seeking, I have to keep doing and more, is that you've done a lot of spiritual work along the way, and that you've done enough. Okay, I've done enough. I don't need any more programs. I don't need any more anything. And so Barbara, who shared a few times on the Facebook group, who was an art therapist that started immediately, almost after just a workshop I did at a church, incorporating these principles into her art therapy. And right away joined the retreat in the year-long group, and then kind of wrapped it up and like, okay, I'm good to go. And then she's like, no, wait, here's where I can keep going deeper. Here's where my tribe is. Here's where I'm making my best friends in the world for life in some ways. Maybe not best friends, but at least it appears that way, but there are people in the groups that are going to be friends for life, and they know how to hold each other in their stuff. So this is just, I made a cute birthday video for her that was a song on that. It was so cute that she has become really fearless at going into those deepest things, like you even see her doing on the group, tackling just, she's amazing therapist, and tackling some small part of how she knows that some aspect of reactivity is not helping her or the client. And so she's going to work it. We all are going to have those things. So it's just that fearless win-win way of life. So again, if you don't have a big 100% reliable strategy, that's the thing that I just want to offer, to say there is a year-long program. And if you're interested in that, I want you to get on the phone with me. I will take appointments with people between now and Monday. And we're starting again our year-long mastermind group. It's going to be amazing. But before that, there's an onboarding thing. That's the Get You Back program. And it really can stand alone. You can do it. It's 6 weeks. It's 4 content modules and 2 Q&A modules, where I gave a lot of content on those weeks too. So it really is. It was following kind of that RISE method, but there were 6 weeks of content, but we've stretched it to do it over the course of 8 weeks, because people who were taking it felt like it was it went deep for them. I worked through this live, and yet this is a digital course. There are the modules where we did the work, and I taught the stuff to 16 women, some very experienced in my method, some in the middle, and some brand new are out there on those amazing recordings. You will get to meet and get to know those women, some of whom you will see tonight, possibly at the Q&A call, or that you may see on my team. So that is that program. I want you to go to the webpage and watch these videos. Oh, look, there is our Allison, and there is our Mary, and this Linda, who came 2 years ago through a challenge. She immediately saw the challenge was really helpful for her. So this is the page that you will go to, and just to take you through really briefly. And again, there's a video of Kaylee you can watch, and some other people too. I think there's about 6 or 8 people on that video, and some more, testimonials of people. And actually, this is video for the introduction to the course. So once you were in the course, you would see this same video. So that gives you a lot right there. I break it down to, this in some ways right here. You probably don't have to watch that. That is some of what I just shared with you. And that's a very long, it's almost an hour and a half, but it tells the modules, even though, like I said, I stuck 2 more in between there to get you ready for the Q&A. So there are, it comes with our monthly Q&As. You get 3 of those, and that's the in-person stuff that Allison was talking about, where you get to come in and be with other people asking their questions and get coached right by me. But we also have Beth and others as success coaches that will help you along the way. And when you work through the whole program, you get a deep private session with me that has the support of text coaching after our session. So it just breaks it all down here. I'm not going to read through this stuff. There is a 100% money back guarantee. So you're almost no risk with it. And it's not even so much about these features as it is about the content and the way of thinking and what you will get. Bonuses, though, you get 2 tickets for yourself and a friend to come to one of our deep dive days. It's just a 1 day, about a 4 to 6 hour event, and anybody who's ever been to one has just loved them, where we take on one topic, one part of this, and we go deep with it. We did overwhelm tasks and things like that. We've done self-forgiveness, we've done fear, we've done your relationship with your body. So, we'll do those. This is a little video that people commenting about their experience at the end of one deep dive day. So then it's just more virtual self-evolution time. Also, I've just completed the really big rewrite of what used to be a 30-page ebook that's now about 140 pages. It's about to be published, but you will get the online version of it. We can get that to you really soon, probably even next week. And then you'll get, a serious discount when the book itself comes out. The difference is it's not just the book that you'll be able to get on a call with me with other people who are working through that book, and get a study group to get help for yourself to make sure you know how to apply these self-love principles. So you get that book and access to that call. It's not just the book, it's access to me, where I'm like the leading expert on self-hatred in some ways, helping you through that.